My name is Tom Krasansky. I'm the art director of TeeFury, and TeeFury is the premier platform for artists to debut their artwork. We sell pop culture inspired t-shirts every 24 hours. And we've got a fantastic group of people up here to talk to you about their experiences as artists. So we'll just get right into it, but we'll have a Q&A afterward. If you guys want to just go through and introduce yourselves, say a little about what you do and maybe any upcoming projects that people could look out for.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Joey Spiotto. I go by Joebot. Thank you, thank you. I am an illustrator. That's why I'm here. And I used to work in video games, and now I'm a freelance illustrator, and I do a lot of t-shirt design stuff. I do a lot of gallery work in Los Angeles. And upcoming projects, I have a solo gallery show coming next week to Gallery 1988 in Los Angeles. Good. Thanks, Mom. And a children's book coming out, I believe, in October about video games.
I'm Karen Hallion, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And I am a freelance artist, illustrator, designer. I have been doing this maybe for 4 or 5 years. I've been an artist for a very long time, but it's just been recently that I've been doing kind of the pop culture designs and things. I do a lot of Disney, Doctor Who. And I've been doing lately, I guess for upcoming projects, I've been working on doing a Star Wars Haunted Mansion portrait series. I've done 2 of them, and I've got 2 more coming out. And then I have a few other projects that I'm actually not allowed to talk about, but yeah, that's it.
Hi, my name is Fontan, and I go by the name of Bamboota. Hey, how's it going? I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, pug aficionado. I do a lot of cereal parodies, like Loki Charms, and a lot of Totoro. Well, my future projects are gonna be spiritual pop culture anime. That's my future projects, and that's it, I guess. Well, one of them.
Hi, my name is Otis Frampton. I work in comics and animation. I have a creator-owned title called I'll Be Normal, coming from Image in September. And I'm also one of the 2 artists on the animated series How It Should Have Ended. I'm kind of the oddball of the group here because I haven't actually sold a t-shirt to TeeFury, but there's a reason I'm here, I guess.
Yet.
Yeah, okay, good.
Could you guys talk a little bit about how you identify the niches that your audience might respond to, and then how you successfully engage that audience?
You go ahead. Yeah.
I tend to draw what I love. I a lot of times will get requests for people, can you do this show or can you do this show or whatever. I don't like to do something unless I know a lot about it and I can come at it from a fan and draw what I think I would want to see. And I also feel very strongly a lot of us do these kind of mashups, taking 2 things and blending them together. And I think what I found to be most popular, or that audiences respond to, or people respond to, is when it's just not random. It's when you're taking 2 things and kind of creating a new thing, telling a new story, making it much more interesting. And then when you're a fan, you can add in all the little subtle details and all the little nods to all of the little quirky little things that the fans pick up on. It makes it all the better. That's what I found.
As far as identifying the niches, what I do is I go through social media, like Tumblr and Instagram and Facebook, and see what's like hot and what people are tweeting about and whatnot. And then if it's something that I like, I usually take that concept and do an art, because a design or something, because I don't really do designs that I don't know about or like. And there's people who do that as far as just, trying to get into the trend. But
Jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah, in a bandwagon and whatnot. But like, I just try to keep to myself, like stay true to myself. So that's what I do.
Yep.
Right? Okay, good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have a hard time working on something that I don't have any kind of background knowledge of whatsoever or any interest in. So I'll get some emails from people kind of requesting something specific, and I would just have a really hard time with something that I don't feel passionate about. But when you do know something very well, it's really fun to put a lot of those references in and little hidden things, and a lot of people like to pick up on that stuff. And I think as a viewer, I also enjoy seeing it in other people's work.
Otis, what was the impetus for like Oddly Normal? Where did that emerge from?
Well, Oddly Normal is really based on influences like I love Wizard of Oz, so it came out of that. It's the kid who goes to a magical land. But to speak to like niches and pop culture, I do a series online called ABCDEF Geek, which is it's like Geek ABC, and for each letter, I've really just done what makes me laugh, what's funny. That's also in geek culture, and I've really tried not to aim for any niche. It's really just kind of following my interests and what I think is funny in general. And if it makes 5 people laugh, that makes me happy.
Have you ever done anything that maybe you weren't passionate about and it came across?
Well, the year and a half I made a living just off of doing commissions was kind of a drudge, but even then I found something that I could find passion in that I tried to make each piece I did as a commission a story in and of itself. And that really helps with, make you a better artist in all areas, especially comics and animation, where you're thinking like a storyteller. And I know that, a lot of the designs you guys do for t-shirts, you can see the storytelling in there. And that's, I think, one of the biggest draws to images like that, especially mashups. If you can find story somewhere in there to pull out and have the audience sort of, relate to, that's a good thing.
What were some of the struggles that you had when you were first starting out and starting to build up a brand and get that brand noticed?
Well, actually, just following up on what I just said about doing commissions for a year and a half, I was plugging away just doing private commissions for private collectors, and I was doing maybe 4 or 5 a week, and all of that was getting sort of dumped onto DeviantArt, and I was using that as a repository. And when Daniel Baxter, the creator of How It Should Have Ended, went looking for somebody to come on and help him with the artwork, he found me through DeviantArt, and he was able to look through a year and a half of movie and TV images and say, this guy, he knows pop culture, he has a consistent style, and it'll mesh with mine. And DeviantArt really gave me a new career because Daniel found my work there, and so I really owe a lot to that.
I was pretty fortunate starting out with the t-shirt designs. I think the first design I did was a He-Man Guns N' Roses mashup, and I took 2 things that I love and combined them, and I was kind of shocked at the reaction of how well it was received, and then I thought, okay, mashups. People like mashups. So the next one I did was horrible, and it was the Giving Tree Terminator mashup, which I bought one. My sister-in-law bought one, and a few strangers bought it, and it failed miserably. It was a waste of time. You guys didn't print it. There's a reason for that, and I thank you. So I kind of settled in like, oh, okay. I realized it was going to be a bad design, but whatever. Some people enjoyed it. And it was kind of nice at that point. I also started kind of building up the gallery stuff, and I kind of hit on a design style, which is the record albums that I've been doing, and people reacted really well to that, and they kind of got spread on the internet, and it was just kind of nice to see like, oh, okay, people are interested in this, and people kind of like this style. How can I apply that idea to different TV shows or movies or kind of things that I enjoy? So that was an interesting kind of realization pretty early on. That was really grateful I realized.
I think that one of my struggles is that I have to figure out how not to be obscure with my art, because I like a lot of obscure things. Like, I don't think anybody wants a Mortal Kombat Annihilation t-shirt. Because
I do.
No, you do?
Yeah.
Because nobody cares. See? Nobody cares. So I think that's one of my struggles, is to try to keep relevant with the times and just you know, just hoping that you like what's hot. Because if you don't, well, then you're like kind of screwed. Because I'm lucky that I like Doctor Who. That's what I'm saying. So like, that's one of my struggles. So.
Yeah, I think I lucked out. One of my first ones that went big was a Calvin and Hobbes Firefly, and it just went crazy. And I'm like, oh, you just take two things and you mash them together. And I just then was a string of all of these just ones that just were like, didn't make any sense or barely made any sense. And then I kind of was like, I'm going to go back to Art Nouveau. I love Art Nouveau. I'm going to do an Art Nouveau Princess Leia because I love Princess Leia. And that was my first TeeFury print after subbing, you know, 20, 30 designs. I finally got one in, and I was like, this is really fun because I can take these characters that are really well loved and add all of, they see them in a different way, show them in a different way, and still with the Art Nouveau add all of the little hidden things that I like to do. And then with the Disney Doctor Who, I got to take it to a whole nother level where I'm telling a new story, which was even more fun, I think. But at first, I jumped on that bandwagon. I was just like, I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to smush them together, and it's going to be great. And that doesn't work.
Did you find the Nouveau stuff that you kind of lost interest in it as you did more of it, or was it something like I need a break from it? I'll go back to it.
I think it was more I need a break from it. It's very, it was very intensive. Like it was so much work, and I can see people who are able to just churn out designs, you know, in like a day, and the Art Nouveau would take me weeks, and I have to make a living, so that was kind of rough.
And how do you balance those things where you know your audience wants to see something specific, and like you were saying, Crystal, you want Mortal Kombat Annihilation or something obscure. Do you fit those designs in there, the passion projects?
I usually try to do like a balance. Like I do something that I know that people will like, because I mean I like doing stuff for me as well as making my fans happy, because that's like, it makes me feel good. But every so often I'll sneak in something that nobody knows, like Hypno-Bay Toad that nobody knows.
I see that around conventions. I see that one.
Really? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't.
And so like just kind of like sneak it in and then put it out there and then start working on something else that I think people will like. So I can't push what I like, my obscurity, too much, because then I'll lose my fan base and interest in people.
I think there's also there can be some fatigue too. If I just do Disney Princess Doctor Who over and over and over again, even though I have people emailing me constantly, they're like, when are you going to do Tanner? When are you going to do this one? Do this one, do this one, do this one, do this one. But I have to try to balance it because I have fans that are from other genres as well. So I'll do a Disney Doctor Who, and then I'll do a Star Wars, and then I'll do something a little bit more obscure, and then I'll go back. I think that helps too.
I think with TeeFury, having the side art is a really interesting thing to kind of gauge interest in a piece, because you can put something that you're kind of interested in yourself and then read in the comments or on the forums kind of people's reactions to that. And if there's not a lot, then I think you kind of know, well, maybe nobody's interested in this.
You have to be careful when you read the comments.
Oh, yeah, the comments. I stopped reading the comments.
Yeah.
Do not read comments.
Don't read comments.
Don't read comments on the internet.
Don't.
Ever, especially on shirt print days. A friend of mine, Abe, printed on TeeFury very recently, and I forgot to warn him about that. And he said to me, oh my goodness, I just read all the comments. I was like, don't do that, because there are people that don't have filters.
Nobody in here, though.
Nobody in here. Well, except for...
What? Comments can be really discouraging, because they just, I hate your work, you suck, what are you? You try to be an artist, and it's like, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I don't want you to
Yeah,
hurt my feelings.
there's people on the other end of those
Yeah.
comments reading them.
Yeah.
Just don't read them.
Don't read the comments.
Yeah.
So then do you use your social platforms at all to try to gauge what people might like from you as well?
Like where I have control of my Facebook page, I am able to take a negative comment and delete and ban that person and never hear from them again. So
Yeah.
I love to use my Facebook page to post works in progress, to ask opinions of people. Which color works better? Do you think that I should do this? Do you think I should do that? And I've been really lucky with my fan base is that they're great. They're wonderful. They're so helpful. They're so kind. Every once in a while, I get one person who's like, God, another TARDIS? Seriously? I'm like, you're on the wrong page. Let me help you out. See you later.
Do you feel like those are accurate portrayal of what it is that your fans are really looking for, those comments, or do you feel like sometimes people are just commenting blindly because
I think sometimes maybe somebody found a link somewhere. If they ended up on my page and they're like, why are you drawing another TARDIS, then I think they just followed a rabbit hole maybe somewhere and got there. But
I think it depends on the platform too. If people are engaging you on Twitter, they're usually engaging you for a purpose and with a desire to dialogue. But if it's just like a comment on YouTube or a DeviantArt page, it can be pretty, basic, like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And that's really not helpful.
Yeah, they're not there specifically for you, whereas on your Facebook page, typically, or on Twitter or something, they're seeking you out. So,
what platforms do you use to get your work out there? Is it mostly social stuff?
I use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TeeFury.
And how do you find each of those? How do you find each of those really converts to sales of your work or development of your fan base?
Well, I think Facebook, since there has been sort of like a turn in Facebook where people are not really seeing your stuff organically, I think the best method for me is to like do a giveaway or some sort of question people can answer, because then that person answers and someone else sees that they answer and they keep on. And so that's like the best social media, right? That's the question, right? I'm sorry.
I mean, I think I use them. They're free, so I use them all. I mean, they're free.
Yeah.
They're free advertising, so you use them all at the best you can. But for me, it's been Facebook, and then lately Instagram has been really, really good, and Twitter. And then it's Tumblr and DeviantArt and Google Plus. For me, doesn't really work that much. But I still, on a sale day, I use Google Plus because it's free. So you might get one person, but that's one person.
Sometimes you're lucky enough that somebody posted on Reddit, and they're like, "Hey, this is really awesome. Check this out." Because
you depend on that though.
Yeah.
I mean, Reddit is so strange. If
Reddit
something can
is
hit and you have no idea why or how, and suddenly your social media will explode because somebody on Reddit posted a piece of your work.
But I feel like you can't do it. You have to wait to get lucky with Reddit.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to have my stuff hit the front page of Reddit a few times, and that was never once for me. It was just someone else found it months after I had posted it on my blog, which is another thing I use. But
I had a similar thing happen where I was doing these Facebook cover banners for my personal Facebook page, and I was sort of putting together characters from The Hobbit that I'd drawn separately with backgrounds for the How It Should Have Ended Hobbit, just to make some scenes for my background, and it hit Reddit and it exploded, and it wasn't even anything I was doing for professional or sales purposes. It was just for fun. All of a sudden, I had this influx of followers on every social media site.
Sometimes you get lucky, but I mean, if you keep putting yourself out there, that's how you're going to get lucky. I'm incredibly lucky enough that Will Wheaton follows me on Tumblr, and every once in a while, a post will explode. I'm like, oh, Will Wheaton reblogged it again.
That's always exciting.
It's very exciting. It's just, but it's you have to get your stuff out there as much as possible, and then these things can happen. Take it to the next level.
How do you feel, since Facebook, the algorithm has basically started drawing down the amount of traffic you're getting, how do you feel about all the other platforms you're using? Are you trying to use any of them more? Or is there something that you're moving towards?
I'm trying to use Instagram more.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the next step for me, because people like pictures. They're visual.
Yeah, so as artists, Instagram's important. I like Twitter, but it's tricky.
Twitter's too cluttered for me. But
I mean,
the good thing about Tumblr is that you post it in Tumblr and Twitter, and you just leave it. You post it together.
I wanted to ask, are there when you guys talk about Tumblr and Google Plus, those are two things that are just not on my radar for some reason.
Yeah, me either.
I don't quite get them. Are there any social media platforms you just don't get? Like
Google Plus for me, I still don't get. Tumblr, I get.
It doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work for me.
But again, Tumblr's almost like Reddit. Like I had a post go viral with my Disney princesses, and somebody put this god-awful filter over all of them, and it's been reblogged about 150,000 times.
That feels good.
Yeah. Oh man, it's horrible. I mean, for me, Facebook, I'm not giving up on Facebook yet. I have 64,000 followers, so I am just.
That's
I'm
awesome.
clinging to that because it's important, and I use some of the tips that tips that Crystal was talking about, whereas, I always post a picture, I always try to get people more active, more involved. But I'm trying to put more effort into Instagram because I feel like that's pretty good.
Instagram is big for me too. I think I have almost as many followers on Instagram now as I have on Twitter. It's exploded.
Yeah, I have about the
last
same
year.
too, yeah, I think.
I have
people
like
like pictures.
1,000.
People like pictures.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with, like you were saying, someone posts something that's a rework of your work, or maybe they post something and it's not credited? When you see that kind of thing, obviously it's a hit, but how do you deal with those?
I mean, the internet for artists has more pros than cons, and that's one of the cons, is that your stuff might go viral without your name attached. I used to get really upset about it. I've just kind of let it go, to quote Elsa. Sorry, I didn't even mean to do that.
Nice.
That was just, I can't help it. It's in my blood now. But I will always comment and be like, art by Karen Hallion. But I've been lucky enough that my fans are so wonderful that somebody usually already has done that for me.
Yeah.
This is by Karen Hallion. It's more when people steal the art and put it on cell phone cases that I get mad. But posting it without credit, I've kind of...
I usually put a little watermark on most of my images that I put online.
I've had people Photoshop mine out.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, that's not nice.
As far
But
as
that's smart to do.
as far as rippers go, like people who take your art and sell it as theirs, you hunt them down and you send them a message that says, "Hey, take that stuff down, or I'm gonna send a lawyer."
I had to do that last week.
You probably don't have.
There was a
but
guy in Portugal that had stolen my design and was selling it as a T-shirt, his design. It wasn't even his; it just wasn't credited. And I sent him an email in English, and he responded in broken English, but he understood the word lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I had somebody on Spoonflower that was selling my artwork as fabric. And I sent them a very nice, polite email. Could you please stop selling this? This is my design. I got one back, and he was like, "This isn't your design. I found it on Google. Stop harassing me." Okay, so then I had to contact Spoonflower, and they took it down. And then I got another email through my Facebook page. They're like, "We're really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Could you talk to Spoonflower so that I could get my account back?"
Oh, no, nope.
No.
Do you guys find that personal appearances, like coming to a con or engaging locally at comic shops and things like that, do you find that helps give a boost to your business and your brand?
Well, I started doing conventions this April in C2E2, and I didn't really. That was my first convention ever, and I didn't know how impactful it is to actually talk to your fans. Like, they actually really want to meet you. And then people who don't know your artwork will take a card and actually like your Facebook page. It's like, whoa, I can't believe it. You actually like my work to Facebook me. So yes, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah,
and I like to continue doing it. So.
This is probably my 10th one, I think, and I think it's been huge because I get tons of people requesting, please come to this one, please come to this one. I mean, it's tough because I'm from Boston, so it's hard to the travel expenses and everything like that. But I think connecting with fans one-on-one, you've got people who follow you online, they love your work, and then all of a sudden they have a face, they've interacted with you, you've interacted with them, and it just makes it, I don't know, I think it's hugely important. It's exhausting, but it's fun.
Yeah, I'm looking to start doing conventions. I've been coming to Comic-Con for years, but just as a fan. And so I'd like to talk to you about your experience at some point. Yeah.
I think doing conventions and appearances at comic shops and whatever, that's bottom line, it's part of the job. You have to connect with people. You can do all the connection you want online, and it's great, but there's nothing like actually talking to people who are interested in your work. Because if you can talk to them, or better yet, make a new fan, they will tell other people, and that's another way of going viral.
Well, I think that's too, to answer your question from before, what are you doing if Facebook now is not working as well as conventions is also what I'm doing, because it makes a huge difference, I think.
And not just by the fans, but it just happened that the person that was right next to Karen, he had a booth, and Todd McFarlane just came to his booth and offered him jobs and whatnot. So that's kind of important. His network.
Kind of.
Networking.
Yeah,
that's like a big deal.
I've had a bunch of people come by and being like, I really love your work. I want to work with you. And plus, I just love meeting the other artists. That's been huge for me. It's really inspirational because mostly I'm sitting in my studio by myself all the time. And so that is helping me too to kind of network.
And with that networking, like the person-to-person, in-person meetings, do you feel like those are more effective than, say, meeting people in groups online or doing like an AMA or something like that to try to network with an artist that you like or you're trying to emulate or trying to learn from?
I think it's effective in a different way. I don't know if it might be more effective. I think they're all good. I mean, being in a group of other artists online is what, like some people, that's all you can do, and it's still really important. But I think if you can do face-to-face, that's even more, it's even better, obviously. I mean, the internet has its drawbacks in terms of when you're just sitting there typing and you don't know what somebody's tone is and blah, blah, but when you meet people in person, it makes more of an impact.
Yeah, like I started talking to Karen in 2011 when I started. I think we both started in that year.
Yeah, we were both around the same time.
And then we met in C2E2 and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
Aww.
So it's important you make friendships and we help each other out with like the insides.
It's huge. No, that's huge because if you have another artist and you're like, should I work with this company, or what do you think I should charge for this, or Crystal, I cannot half-tone this, please help me, or Crystal's like, I can't draw her hair. I'm like, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and so to have other artists that you can rely on, it's huge.
Yeah, especially when you make friends that want to help you succeed instead of just want to know your secrets.
Or be competitive.
Don't be competitive. No. You're not going anywhere if you be competitive. Am I right?
Right.
Here you go.
I could use some help half-toning, by the way.
Huh?
I could use some help with the
Talk to
half-toning.
Crystal. Yeah, she's like the half-tone wizard. It's insane.
It's all in the fingers. That's it.
Do you guys feel like there's any benefit to having a broad range of styles versus one signature style? Or having that one style, do you sometimes get pigeonholed?
Yeah, I think, well, for me, having a variety of styles is super helpful. Like I said, my previous career, I was a video game concept artist. And so I worked on, 1 year I worked on the game Dead Space, which was super violent, dark, mature rated game. And then the next year I was working on The Sims, which is a complete different visual style completely. But being versatile, I think in any field is super helpful. So when it comes to like, not quite as expansive as concept art, but going into t-shirt design, I think when you can do multiple styles or have things that you're kind of, like your niche, you're doing different things, and people will be attracted to one thing, and maybe they don't like the other style you do, but they're really into one style, and they'll stick with that, which is great, and they'll find something that they like, and also changing it up for yourself. Otherwise, I would go crazy just doing one thing over and over and over.
Well, I agree and like disagree in a way, because I think as an artist it's awesome to be versatile because you could do a lot of things and you get challenges and whatnot. But as a brand, you might lose your fans, or people won't recognize your artwork. You know what I mean? They'll be like, you can recognize Karen's, you can recognize Miss Monsters. You know what I mean? If you know who that is. So like.
If you don't, you should Google her because she's awesome.
Yeah, Google Miss Monster. Yeah. She's awesome. So like, I feel like it's good to have one style that you keep evolving as a brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even, it's funny because you say you recognize my style. I don't even consider myself to have a style, though I know that I do. I just kind of draw the way that organically feels right to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I think you have a style. Yeah. So it's weird because people will be like, how did you come up with your style? And I remember when I was in art school a gazillion years ago, everybody senior year was like, I have to come up with a style. But for me, it's been, I draw the way that I like, and sometimes it goes this way, and sometimes it goes this way, but I think because it's still coming from me, it's still mine, I think. Though I have been trying to think about, like, some people are like, could you do something supernatural? And I'm a huge fan of supernatural, but my style is like pretty and girly, and so, I mean, part of me is like, do I want to try to challenge myself and do something dark, or do I want to do supernatural in a girly kind of way?
Sam does have long flowing hair.
He does.
He's dreamy.
He does. And then there's the long, I like to draw, you know, long, the flowy cloak, Castiel.
There you go.
Do you consider your audience when you come up with stuff like that? Like, your audience would probably love you to do
I've
something
had so many people ask me about supernatural, and I consider my audience a lot, especially for me. I think I don't want to go too far away from the girly because I feel like geek girls are underrepresented. I think a lot of people will be like, I really love your work, but I want to buy something for my son. Can you do something more masculine? And I'm like, no, because, you know, I mean, no, nicely, but I feel like there's so much art out there for boys or for guys or masculine work. I'm designing for the geek girl because I'm a geek girl. So I do think about my audience, and I love getting requests, but at the same time, I'm not going to kind of do something that I'm not passionate about, because then it won't look very good.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself looking for those things that are underrepresented and trying to prop those up? Like the things that maybe you're passionate about, and you know that there are people out there that are passionate about, but you just don't see?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I mean, I love that movie. It's the second one. It's so good. It's so good. It's so bad. No one cares.
Oh,
I'll do one.
you do one. You have to do it now.
You gotta print it. Print it.
Print it. Aw, see?
There you go.
Look at that.
No, but yeah, I try to always. With TeeFury, I always try to do something that no one else has done. Like when I did my Scott Pilgrim design, I don't think anyone else did a Scott Pilgrim design. And I'm like, let me try to do it to see if, you know, if that's something that people would want. And yeah, it is something that people want. So like, I always try to do something new or unknown or something like that that doesn't get much props or.
I think it's nice to be in a position too where if I'm doing kind of well, then I can take some time out and do something that might not, because you have to think about your business and paying bills and things like that too. But if I'm at a point where I can do something and take more of a risk, I mean, a lot of people have been asking me for a gem design.
God, do gem design.
Totally
Right?
rages.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do that and Jodie and the Pussycats. I like
All right.
that. All right. Sorry.
I think people might be interested in hearing how you broke into the industries that you have as an artist.
So I mean, I have kind of a windy story where I graduated from art school. I tried to freelance. There was no internet at that. Well, there was kind of, I mean, I'm not that old. There was some internet. But, I mean, there was not what there is now. And so, you know, you had to go to Kinko's and put together your portfolio and mail it out. And the whole pop culture TeeFury didn't exist. And I failed miserably. And I started teaching, and I was a teacher for a long time, which was amazing. And I would probably still be teaching if I hadn't lost my job. And then trying to find a way not to waitress, found Redbubble, found TeeFury, found that there was a way to make a living doing what I love, which didn't exist when I first graduated from art school. And so it was kind of a strange, windy little road that brought me here, but it's been pretty cool. Sorry.
Okay,
How'd
so
you get here?
I graduated in 2005, and then from college, and then I went straight into the industry of architecture, and then I got a job at VF Corp as a graphic artist for T-shirts for licensed sports. So I did that for like 5 years, and then in 2008. I discovered TeeFury with the Zombama shirt. You guys remember that one? Mm-hmm. Old school. And so ever since then, I started buying T-shirts from TeeFury. And I'm an avid toy collector. So in my toy forum, my friend's like, you should do a shirt. You're an artist. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I did it. And after like 15 tries or something like that, I finally got into TeeFury, and it was like an addiction. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I love it. People see my work. So I started doing that in 2011 as like a backup, as like something when I got back home. And then last year, well, actually in July 12th, I celebrated my first year as a freelance artist because I just thought I really like doing this. I really like doing my own art and interacting with people and doing all that whatnot. So that's my background.
I came up doing fan art in like 2003, 2004. I was doing a web comic, and it was picked up by Viper Comics and published. And then I went through some lean years of just doing commissions, like I said before, and got picked up by How It Should Have Ended. I've been doing that for almost 4 years now. But most recently, I did a reboot. I've been working on a reboot of my comic series, and I just blind submitted it to Image Comics earlier this year, and it got picked up. And so, like breaking in, I've been working for years trying to reboot my comic series, and it's just kind of a weird way of redoing it. It was a blind submission, so I just want to be here to say that if you're into comics and you're trying to get a comic property picked up and you think that Image is only doing like big name stuff, I'm here to tell you you can blind submit and get picked up. So there's hope.
I want to step on that. That's good.
I graduated from art school in 2002, and then I went to work on a film up in the Bay Area, and it was an animated film, and I always wanted to work in animation, and I worked on the Polar Express. Well, I worked on the Polar Express. I was an artist assistant, but I was working with the concept art team that had left Star Wars Episode 2, and it was amazing working with them because I'd kind of idolized their artwork. I was a big Star Wars fan. And so I learned a lot from them, and the project ended, and I was homesick, so I moved back to Los Angeles, and I kind of got into video games, and I'd always grown up playing video games and stuff, and I loved that. And so I worked in video games for years, and then I lost my job at the end of 2008. And so losing your job is a great way to find out what you want to do with your life.
Really, I can relate to that.
So in 2009, I started showing with Gallery 1988. And I think in 2010, I had my first shirt at TeeFury. And I also kind of had been in more gallery shows at 1988. And so those two things kind of combined. I kind of built up, I realized, oh, I could do this. This could work. I could do this full time. And I don't have to find a real job, whatever that means. And so I've been doing that ever since.
Well, as we're wrapping up, let's get some questions from everybody in the audience. If there's anyone who wants to ask a question of any of these guys, just come up to the microphone, and we'll take you in order.
You young men.
I'm a big fan of Joebot. I have one of his shirts on right now.
Nice.
Love it. So you guys are obviously fans of comic books and popular art and pop culture. Who have you sold a piece to that you were the most excited about? Like, is there somebody that you sold a piece to that's like a hero or someone you're just so friggin' excited to sell a piece to?
I won a contest for Mighty Fine, and I got to tour DreamWorks Studios. That was the prize. And my friend Brian Newland works there, and he's friends with Gary Trousdale, who's the director of Beauty and the Beast. And so he had shown Gary my Belle Doctor Who design. And so when I showed up at DreamWorks, Gary came to find me wearing my design, and I about died. So awesome. I'd say that was I don't think I'll ever top that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
I haven't sold. I mean, I don't know if consciously I haven't sold anything to any celebrity or anything, but there was a video where Tom Hiddleston, Loki, right?
Yeah.
Saw this shirt and he said he liked the shirt.
That's
awesome.
That's it right there.
Right?
That's huge.
Yeah.
That worked. I've been super fortunate to work with Gallery 1988. They're in Los Angeles. They're in Hollywood. They have a lot of celebrity buyers. So I've been able to meet a lot of my heroes, and they have bought my work. And I'll just say Joss Whedon. It's awesome. That's
That's amazing.
That's very cool.
One of my favorite. Mine go off. One of my favorite comic artists is Scotty Young, and at C2E2 this year, I debuted the first volume of my ABCDEF Geek book. And on the first day of the show, right before the show started, he ran over to my booth and bought a copy. And then later on, he posted this video to his Twitter page of his son reading it and just cracking up, and that made my year. I mean, that was the best.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Great. Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, you've already answered the first part of my question, but I'd like to ask a bit more about working with other people's characters. Do you need then a lawyer between you and them? I find it difficult to believe that Disney, for example, don't come in and say, you can't do that.
I mean, I had a vice, an executive at Disney see my Cinderella design and then commission me to do an official Cinderella poster.
That would help, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, I mean, like I have a lawyer because it made me nervous and I wanted to talk to a lawyer. But I think that some of these companies, and this is just my own opinion, is that they're realizing that fans are furthering their brand, and if they're doing it in a respectful way. I just got a commission to do another official thing that I can't talk about, but it's because somebody saw my Disney Doctor Who things. So I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it's a scary gray area. It's tough, but
I actually I know somebody who came under the radar of the mouse, and there were lawyers involved. And I would say this: don't recreate. Make it your own. Make it different. Change it. Alter it.
Yeah.
Tell a new story. Don't just redo something. Alter it as much as you can to make it unique, and then you'll avoid that kind of problem.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
This is for Karen. I've been following your work on Facebook for quite a while now, ever since the very beginning of the Disney Disney Princesses and Doctor Who mashups and Star Wars, Haunted Mansion, and I just get really excited when I see like what new work you're producing.
Thank you.
And I always like look forward to all the new stuff that's coming out. And I just wanted to know if you have any advice for an aspiring artist, because I like to draw Disney characters also. And I graduated from art school, and I'm not doing anything with my art degree right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask any artist, the first thing they're going to tell you is draw every day. Like, everybody's going to say that. So I won't even, I mean, I'll just put that out there. Draw every day. I noticed that on days that I go a couple of days without drawing, I'm rusty, and it's so frustrating. And so I try to make sure I draw every day. Find other artists that you like and follow them and learn from them and stalk them a little bit, because that's kind of how I learned. I started stalking Megan Lara and Claire Hummel and Katie Cook, and get your work out there on social media. I love drawing the other character, like the Disney characters or the Doctor Who characters or things, but I remember when I first started, I felt like Ariel had to look exactly like Ariel. It had to look like Ariel. And then all of a sudden, maybe like 2 years ago, I'm like, you know what? I can do my version of Ariel. And that really helped develop my style a little bit more, is because I wasn't like, okay, her nose has to look like this and her eyes have to look like this. And I think I learned that from watching other artists. Is I got really excited when I would see somebody else's take on Ariel. So I think if you like to draw pop culture characters and things like that, think about kind of putting your own twist on those pop culture characters, and that really helps.
Hello, my name is Ben. A lot of my questions have already been answered because of copyright, but as artists, I'm one myself, I'm a freelancer. Do you guys support like relaxing copyright law at all? So, you know, this not such a gray area where you have to go and get lawyers and maybe have your t-shirt removed if you made it your own? Or do you actually like strict enforcement? Because I know you guys, when you were talking about it with the rippers, that people steal your art, and then you're like, so what is your take on that?
Yeah, I think strict copyright laws are pretty important, and I get that they have a brand that they're trying to protect. And so if I've had stuff taken down, I go into it understanding like, this is your thing, and I get that. And so I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, I've had a lot of people who have done designs, and they've been kind of inspired by my work. In fact, I had somebody on Etsy that had a tag that was inspired by, or she tried to have it tagged inspired by Karen Hallion, and I didn't want her having my name tagged because I didn't want people confusing me.
Yeah.
I would rather people not just directly take my art and put it on something else, but I think that kind of goes back to Disney, is I'm not taking Disney's art and just slapping it on a phone. I'm doing my own story, my own interpretation of it.
Yeah.
We have enough time for one more question.
Thank you.
Well, I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to say, Karen, I'm new to you, but I just followed you on Instagram, and I know you don't really read comments, but I left you a really cool comment.
I read comments. I can't respond to them all, but I read every single comment. I swear.
Yeah,
even when there's 700, I read them all.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that your work is really awesome. I really love Doctor Who and Disney, and I think what you do is really awesome, and I'm really
thank
really
you
happy.
so much.
I'm looking forward to buy a lot of your stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out. And thanks to the panel.
I know, I didn't take a picture.
I took a picture. I want to take a picture.
One more?
You got a question? Come on.
All right, so. Oh. Gosh, dang it. All right. So, I've came here for I think this is my third time. Well, my name is Sean. Everybody just calls me Solar because.
Hi, Sean.
Yeah. So, since I've been here 3 times, well, how was Comic-Con made? I mean, everybody never stopped talking about it. All my friends at school never stopped talking about it. They talk about that, everything. It's like a cosplayer's dream there. So I decided to figure out how it was made.
But people like you.
I think it's a lot of people who love a lot of cool stuff and want to get together and celebrate it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question.
Great question.